Hargeisa is the capital of Somaliland, which is a former British colony of Somaliland. In 1991, it declared itself to be independent from the rest of Somalia, and it's been operating as a sort of de facto independent state without recognition since that time. During the late 1980s, or up until 1991, it was the scene of a really brutal civil war, and most of the city was destroyed, completely flattened. And it's been engaged in a process over the last 25 plus years of rebuilding. It is growing rapidly as a result of this rebuilding process that's taking place. People moving back, both from the diaspora as well as from other parts of Somaliland and also from Somalia. A lot of informal housing, people having constructed housing out of corrugated iron sheets. Some of the displaced people who we have studied with have constructed their homes out of recycled plastic, baskets, anything they can use really to patch together a shelter. And we've been working in 3 settlements in the city. One is right in the heart of the city, and people have been living there and displaced for more than 20 years. The other 2 are sites that have cropped up since the 2007 droughts, and we have been working with an all-Somali team to go out and do all sorts of surveys, life history interviews, community mapping exercises, a whole range of different kinds of methods. Clearly, one thing that really emerges from this research is the importance of having security to know that from one day to the next you're not going to be displaced further. So people are living in land to which they don't have a legal title to at the moment. They're sort of squatting in urban land, which is either owned by the government or owned by a private landowner. And they have no reassurance that today or tomorrow they won't be evicted from that land. They're unable to invest on the land because they know that that will make it more valuable and increase the likelihood that they'll be evicted. And so when we ask them what is the main objective you have in the short term, they'd say, I just want to live in a place where I can be secure and know that I can stay there over the long term. Then I can think about investing in the place, sending my children to school, building a better house, all of those things. It all starts from that security of tenure. Those who are living on public land know that they're living on quite valuable land that's really close to the center of the city, and it's a sort of waiting game. They know that eventually the government will want that land back, will want to start constructing housing or office buildings or something that's very close to the center of the government ministry buildings. So they're sort of waiting to see, hoping that they can stay there long enough that when they're offered something in terms of new land, new housing, new compensation, they'll be able to benefit from that. The people who live in the other 2 sites are more removed from the city, and they're living, one site is privately owned, and they are hoping that they can be offered something else that is not privately owned where they can have some security. And then the 3rd site is actually a success story in a way, because they have been moved to a place and they have been given that assurance that they're not going to be moved further. They're quite happy and they're settled, and they're starting to, in small ways, invest in the place where they live. So when we ask the people from the other 2 sites, what do you aspire to? What would you like to see from your lives? They look at that 3rd site and say, that's what we would aspire to.